In the last video, we discussed state and how it relates to Flutter. In this video, we're going to take that information and use it to add, list, edit, and delete groceries from our list view. The first thing we need to do before we can start showing our list changes to the user is change our stateless widget to a stateful widget. We will do that by right mouse clicking on stateless widget, going to refactor, and we will just click convert to stateful widget. So what we are going to be doing is something called CRUD, C-R-U-D. It stands for create, read, update, and delete. We've technically already created the read or list the grocery items in our list view. So let's go ahead and work on add now. Let's go ahead and set our prices to a dash for now, so prices aren't going to complicate things for us while we work on this. We'll add const since it's now constant. We see the dashes over there. Now to add a grocery item to the list, we need to make the text field accessible to the add button. To get access to the text field, we need to set up a text editing controller. So we'll do that right up here. And now we need to tell our text field to use that text controller. So we'll type controller here, and then we will link it to that text controller variable. We need to remove const from here since we're using a variable. Now that the text field is connected to the text controller, we can tie into this text controller variable to add the text in the text field to the groceries list, like so. And we will just look for text right here. And we will want this to update the state so we can see the change in our view. So we're going to do a set state around this. I'll just cut it. If y'all know a better way to do this, let me know. And paste it back in. Now if we type grapes into this text field up here and we hit add, we now can see it in the grocery list. We will do one more thing real quick. When our item is added to the grocery list, we want to go ahead and clear out this text field. So we can do that right here by typing in text controller clear. So now if we reload our app, we type in grapes and hit add, the text field clears. So we have our read and our create of CRUD now. Let's go ahead and work on delete. We aren't going to do any confirmation just yet. What we will do is if there's a long press on one of these grocery items, we'll just delete the item for now. So inside the list tile, we're going to do an on long pressed. And then we will simply call a remove at on the groceries list to remove the item. We'll want to call set state, so we'll update the user interface. That's simple enough. We'll go ahead and just restart the app to be safe. I'm going to long press on bananas and it should go away. Now we have all of our elements for CRUD except for update. So let's go ahead and work on that. The first part of update will be adding the grocery item into the text field when there's a short click or a tap on the item. So right here in the list tile, we'll go ahead and do an on tap. And then we will write the current grocery list item to the text field, and we'll want to use set state so it shows up in the view. So now if I click on oranges, it shows up inside the text field. But if we were to hit the add button right now, it would just add a new entry to our grocery list instead of updating the existing one. So we have to let our app know that we are editing, not adding. There's a few ways we could do that. One way is we just store the index in a variable, and then we know if that variable is set that we are editing. So we will first create the variable. We have to add the question mark here because this variable can be null. We will keep it null if we're not editing an item, and the index of the item if we are editing. We can now set that when the item is tapped like this. This does not have to be inside set state because this variable will not be seen by the user. As an additional bonus, let's go ahead and change the icon as well. So we will show a plus if we are adding a new item and a floppy disk if we were updating an existing item. So below the grocery index variable, let's create another variable called button icon. And then we need to use that variable inside the button itself. Next, what we want to do is change that to a different icon when we are editing a grocery item. Then we were able to see that everything changed like it was supposed to. Testing it out, we will click right here and we see it does change to the floppy disk when we are editing. Here comes the tricky part. When we press this button here, we need to know if it is adding an item or updating an existing item. We can do that by using an if statement. So we will add this to the on press of our elevated button. So we have to add the exclamation point here because we want it to know that we know for a fact it will not be null in this instance. And we know that because our if statement clearly states if it is not null. Also, if we are updating an existing record, we want to go ahead and set the grocery index back to null. This up here. And we also want to set the button icon back to icons.add. Because the default functionality of this button is to add an item unless we've clicked an item beforehand. So what this is saying is if grocery index is not null, that means that we are editing an existing item. We will change the grocery list data to the value of the text controller or the text field. Then we will set grocery index back to null, so it's ready to add a new entry. And we will change the icon button back to add as well, so the user knows that it's back to add mode. If the grocery index is null, then it's assuming we're adding a new record, and it will just add the value of the text field to the groceries list. So we'll go ahead and do a restart of the app and give it a test. We're going to add a new item called grapes. I'm going to click the button. We see it down there. Now I'm going to maybe edit bananas and just change it to bananas updated. Hit the save button. Bananas was updated. The plus went back. Everything looks like it's working correctly. In the next episode, we will look closer at if statements as well as relational operators and logical operators. I'll see you there.